Welcome to an introduction to safety for solar photovoltaic systems. This second part of the safety session consists of a video followed by some multiple choice quizzes and to make sure that you have got the key points from each video. In part 2, we are going to cover the following: identify the safe practices for the use of ladders, stairways and guardrails, the use of head, feet, hearing and face protection, the use of power tools, and the use of the appropriate fall protection, including requirements for personal fall arrest and safety monitoring systems, and recognize the principal electrical safety hazards associated with PV systems, including electrical shock and arc flash. Falls are the leading cause of death in the construction industry. Most fatalities occur when employees fall from open-sided floors and through floor openings. Many PV arrays are installed on rooftops or elevated structures. Here is the key point: each employee on a walking or working surface with an unprotected side of 6 feet or 1.8 meters or more above a lower level shall be protected from falling by the use of a guardrail system, a safety net system, or a personal fall arrest system. Skylights must be also protected from fall hazards with covers. If not, the results can be fatal. Fall protection options include a guardrail with minimum height, openings and support strength required, safety nets installed no more than 30 feet below working level, personal fall arrest systems PFAS, which include anchorages, lifelines and body harness, and a required employee training on a proper use and care of this equipment. The employer shall provide the training for each employee who might be exposed to fall hazards. A warning line system is a barrier erected on a roof to warn employees that they are approaching an unprotected side or edge. Designates an area in which roofing work may take place without the use of guardrails, body belts, or safety net systems. Personal fall arrest systems. Here are 2 examples of workers using personal fall arrest systems. Anchorage points. These are examples of anchorage points used to anchor tether lines onto roofs. Protection from falling objects. When an employee is exposed to falling objects, the employer shall have each employee wear a hard hat and shall implement one of the following measures: erect toe boards, screens or guardrail system to prevent the objects from falling from high levels, or erect a canopy structure or barricade and prohibit employees from entering such an area which objects could fall. Stairways and ladders. A stairway and ladder is required at points of access to a construction site. At least one point of access must be kept clear at all times. Stairway rails and handrails must be able to withstand 200 pounds of force, and stairways with 4 or more rises or higher than 30 inches must be equipped with at least one handrail and a stair rail along each unprotected side or edge. Here are some examples of stairways that are not protected. Ladders. Ladders must be kept in a safe condition and free from slipping hazards. Areas around the top and bottom of a ladder must be kept clear. The rungs, the cleats and the steps must be level and uniformly spaced. Rungs spaced 10 to 40 inches apart, and side rails 11 to 11.5 inches apart. Do not use ladders for scaffolding, and use double-cleated ladders required for 25 or more employees on a 2-way traffic area. The ladder angle. Non-self-supporting ladders that lean against the wall or other support. These must be positioned at an angle where the horizontal distance from the top of the support to the foot of the ladder is 1/4 the working length of the ladder. For example, in this example, we have a 16-foot high working wall, a 20-foot long ladder. The requirement is that the distance from the foot of the ladder to the working surface must be 1/4 the length of the working height. In this case, it is 16 feet, so the length away from the wall must be 4 feet, which is an approximate angle of 75 degrees. When using a portable ladder for access to upper landing surface, the side rails must extend at least 3 feet above the upper landing surface. Ladder safety. Never use ladders beyond their maximum rated loaded capacity. Never use a ladder as a scaffold or for any purpose except that it was intended. And never tie two ladders together to make longer sections or use single rail ladders. Always use secure ladders and use them on a level, stable surface to prevent accidental movement. Always carry tools in pockets, belt bags, or raised and lowered by a rope. Always keep areas around the top and bottom of a ladder clear. Always use only double insulated or properly grounded electrical tools on a metal ladder. Always use ladders with non-conductive side rails when exposed to an energized electrical equipment. Always inspect ladders routinely for damage, and always train employees on the proper procedures to minimize ladder hazards. Electrical hazards. There are four main types of electrical hazards: electrocution or death due to electrical shock, burns, and falls caused by electrical shock. Electrical accidents are caused by a combination of three factors, namely unsafe equipment and or installation, workplaces made unsafe by the environment, and unsafe work practices. Shock severity. The severity of the shock you receive depends on the path through the body, the amount of current flowing through the body, namely amps, and the duration of the shock current through the body. Low voltage does not mean low hazards. High voltage does also not mean high hazards. The amperage that passes through your body is the main factor that will cause injury. How much can hurt you? Electrical shock hazards. For example, with an AC with a current of 1.0 milliamps will give you a perception of a small tingle, but 1000 milliamps or 1 amp will freeze your body, cause your temperature to rise, and if you carry on staying electrocuted, will kill you in minutes. That is 1 amp. In most houses today, we have 15 amps of electricity flowing through the house. What is arc flash? Arc flash is the result of a rapid release of energy due to an arc fault being between a phase busbar and another phase busbar, neutral or ground. Watch 50,000 volts on electrical utility grid cut across a gap of over 15 feet. Stop the video here and watch the following two videos, the arc flash video and the arc flash video in a PV system. An arc fault is similar to the arc obtained during electrical welding, and the fault has to be manually started by something creating the path of conduction or failure, such as a breakdown in insulation. Preventing electrical hazards. Wear non-conductive Class E hard hat, wear electrical hazard rated foot protection, use properly grounded or double insulated power tools, work on electrical equipment and circuits in a de-energized state using lockout tagout procedures, and beware of overhead power lines and buried electrical conductors. Lockout and tagout. What is lockout? Lockout is the placement of a lockout device or an energy isolating device in accordance with an established procedure, ensuring that the energy isolating device and the equipment being controlled cannot be operated until the lockout device is removed. What is a tagout? This is the placement of a tag-out device or energy isolating device in accordance with an established procedure to indicate that the energy isolating device and the equipment being controlled may not be operated until the tag-out device is removed. Here are some examples. Employers must provide policies, procedures, documentation, equipment, training, inspection, and maintenance for LOTO or lockout tagout procedures. Here is a lockout tagout device. Here is a tag, and here is a locked out device on an electrical system. Power tool safety. All hand and power tools and similar equipment, whether furnished by the employee or the employee, shall be maintained in a safe condition. They must be fitted with guards and safety switches. Handheld power tools must be equipped with a constant pressure switch or on-off switch. Power tools are extremely hazardous when used improperly, and eye protection is usually required. Power tool precautions. Disconnect tools when not in use before servicing and cleaning and when changing accessories. Secure work with clamps or vices, freeing both hands to operate their tool. Keep tools sharp and clean. Do not wear loose clothing and jewelry that can get caught in moving parts. Do not use electrical cords to carry, hoist, or lower tools. Keep your cords and hoses away from heat, oil, or sharp edges. And always remove damaged electrical tools and tag them. Do not use. Fire protection and prevention. The employer is responsible for developing a fire protection program, providing access to firefighting equipment at all times without delay. All firefighting equipment must be displayed conspicuously and periodically inspected and defective equipment should be removed immediately and replaced. You get 4 kinds of firefighting equipment. What's important in the areas that we work in is electrical equipment, where we use a Class C firefighting extinguisher. First aid program is an emergency care provided for injured or sudden illness before emergency medical treatment is available. A workplace first aid program includes management leadership and employee involvement, worksite analysis, hazard prevention, safety and health training. Medical aid and first aid. Provision shall be made prior to commencement of the project for proper medical attention in case of an injury. In the absence of a reasonably accessible emergency facility, a person certified in first aid from a recognized organization such as the American Red Cross or other shall be available on the worksite to render first aid. First aid employees shall be accessible when required. Employees shall determine the needs for additional first aid kits at larger worksite. Certain OSHA standards for confined space and electrical power transmission and distribution also require training in cardiopulmonary resuscitation. Be safe at work. Go home every day to the ones you love. Safety is not negotiable. Safety comes first.